Hey y'all, hey. Sorry I'm coming on late. I was in a meeting and it went longer than usual. So I'm gonna just wait for some people to hop on before I get started. So I'm Tiana Nichelle. I have empowered people through my businesses. I have Bella Lux, which empowers women just to be beautiful and to just basically illuminate their type of beautiful, manifested, all of those different things. I have Empower Society for people with disabilities. I send inspirational messages through our app. We have classes coming up and just different things. And I have empowering conversations on a daily through inspiring people to go for their goals, their dreams. So this is just part of what I do anyway. I empower people. That is what I do. I encourage people to follow their dreams, goals, whatever it is that they want to do. That is what I do. So we just gonna hop right into it. Hey y'all, hey. Today we're gonna talk about roles, relationships, and dating. Which is something that a lot of people, I think our age, 30 somethings, and younger are actually struggling with, because in conversations, even talking to younger people, these things weren't told to them, taught to them. No one is having the conversations. I'm not going to say no one, but publicly, I haven't seen anyone having these conversations. And so we just going to talk about it. Before Crown to Tiara, the purpose was for the older women to actually school younger women. So these were the conversations that were supposed to be started, but it turned into a community conversation. And actually, to me, it's better having the community conversation so that we all talk about what's going on with us. For some people, it's therapeutic. For others, they get some resolve with certain issues. I've actually gotten feedback even today before I hopped on about, this person actually they've been watching my videos and looking at my quotes, and so they felt inspired and empowered through it. So that was wonderful. So however I can help, that's the type of person that I am. I like helping, empowering, and things like that. Hey y'all, hey everybody that's joining. So we just gonna jump into it. There's been conversations about roles, gender roles. Now I've had these conversations with my family. I've had these conversations with people that I've interacted with in the store, friends. We've been having these conversations a while ago. So I decided just to make this a topic because no one is talking about the roles that women are supposed to be in and men are supposed to be in. And so what's happening now that I see is women are being more dominant and not being as feminine as they were before, because for some reason they feel that this is what a man wants. They want them to do all of these different things, and that's not necessarily true. So actually, men, you all can comment. Everybody can actually comment. If you all want to hop on and say anything, you can just request to do that. But these conversations need to be had, because in order for us to have better relationships with one another, we have to have an understanding of one another. And younger kids or teenagers, while they're in those dating phases, we should be able to tell them what we know through our own experiences and how to get along with the opposite sex, because of course these are the ones that they're dealing with while they're dating, or whoever they deciding to be with. So you have to know how to talk to a person. You have to know how to get along with that person. You have to know how to conduct yourself within that relationship. And it seems that women, and black women especially, we're clashing with our black men, and that shouldn't be, because at the end of the day, those are the same relationships that we want, but we don't know how to have healthy relationships because we're not understanding each other. We're not speaking each other's language. One, let me just say, so for me, I say that I operate mentally in two realms, right? So, and you can dispute it all you want to, but I've been around boys. That was my friend base when I was younger. So I understood some things, whereas most girls were around a lot of girls. So all their conversation was about what girls like, what they want. And they just assumed what boys like and all of these different things. Women do it now. Instead of actually having the conversations with men to try to understand what it is that they want, like, and all of these other things. So for me, I operate in two realms mentally, because I can be the friend blending with the guys and then be feminine. So but for a minute I was a little too dominant. So I'm gonna own it. I was doing some of the same things that some of these women were doing. But we have it wrong. Women have it all wrong. Men want you to be feminine. They want you to be beautiful. They want you to be catering. They want you to be in that role that you're supposed to be in. So the first thing is the roles. What are the roles? So as a man, and you all can chime in, they are head of the household, the boss, the leader, the CEO, the stabilizer. They provide and protect. Now, providing does not mean buying all of the Gucci in the world and all of these things. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying provide the stability that you need. Be the leader that you need him to be to lead the family. So as women, we're managers. We're supposed to manage and multiply. Whatever that man gives us, we're supposed to be able to manage it and blow that thing up. Well, in addition to that, you manage the household. You're the man's assistant. I say executive assistant. The COO sets the tone for the house. The nurturer. That is the general roles. Anybody can comment if you feel differently. So manage and multiply is what a woman should be doing. But something has happened where women are feeling like they have to dominate the relationship, which actually shifts him out of his role. So now he doesn't know how to protect or provide, because a lot of the times women are trying to manage, multiply, protect, and provide. And that's not what you're technically supposed to be doing. And I put up a story yesterday, and I'm like, it's okay to be the boss in the streets as a woman and then come home, be catering, be beautiful, be, all of those things, because that's what a man actually wants. And so what I'm noticing, though, even in conversation in all of these women empowerment groups, all of these women empowerment conversation, that it is kind of bulldozing over the role that a man is supposed to have. And that is not what we're supposed to be doing as women. We are supposed to be able to be who we are if we want to, have our goals, our dreams, or whatever, that's fine. But you're not supposed to be taking over and not able to coexist with a man, because at the end of the day, who are you dating? If you want to date yourself, that's fine. Then do all of that. But when you're looking for a partner, a spouse, or whatever the case may be, you got to learn how to get along with them. So paying attention to what their needs are is very important, and understanding what your role is and what you're supposed to do is important too. Men have to do the same thing, because I'm not gonna say it's just women. Some men are not in their roles either. Some men are very passive. They're not leading like they should. They're falling back. No, we don't need you to fall back. We need you to be in your role so that we're in our role. So you all can, hey y'all, everybody that's joining, you all can put comments in there if you all want to hop in and say anything. You're more than welcome. And then you can correct me if you feel like what I'm saying don't fit what you're saying. But we're going to take our feelings out of it and just get to the real of it. A lot of us are not operating in the roles that we're supposed to be in. And that's problematic. Because now, and I even put up a video by oh God, I always mess her name up. Shahrazad Ali. And she was talking about how the black woman is fighting a white woman's fight with her man. And so, it has created a wedge between what our dating relationships, or our relationships period, with our men have been. And so now a lot of black men are looking at other races, but it's not necessarily because they are better women. You know, it's because whatever we have gone through, we've internalized that and become hard, or not able to, hard to talk to, not as feminine, not as soft. So they have gone on to other races and they feel like they can get along with them. But we got to reel that back in, because it's too much of that happening where okay, I'm reading the comments. Sorry. The man is the CEO. That is the role that you were supposed to be in. Whatever. So, back to what I was saying. It's causing us to clash. So, we just want to get a better understanding of, one, what's going on from the men's perspectives, and from the woman's perspective as well. So if you all have a comment, anything that you want to say, if you want to hop on, you can. The other part was letting society dictate to us how we should date, who we should be dating. And that has become problematic, because then men are saying, oh, I can't find a good woman. And women are saying, oh, I can't find a good man. Well, what is it that you're basing your preference off of? Is it because you on social media 24/7 and you see a bad chick and you think that chick, you can bring her home and make her wifey? Well, she don't know how to cook, clean, manage, do nothing. She want to give you orders, and then it becomes an issue. So being realistic about what we want is necessary. Being realistic about the goals or long-term goals that we have is necessary. Dating with a purpose is also necessary. And one of the things that we also should be stressing to the younger generation, so that they don't wind up in situations where they have different babies' mothers or babies all over the place, and then their life is a mess. We have to tell them what we've experienced, what we've gone through, or are currently going through, to let them get a better understanding of what not to do, so that they have better lives and a better outcome when they become our age. So part of these conversations is to help them to do things differently. I noticed that we weren't having these conversations. Our parents did not sit down and talk to us about these different things, thinking that, oh, they're protecting us from certain things. But no, it actually made a lot of us go to certain things because it wasn't talked about in our household. So this is just a public platform just to have these conversations. And I would also like to hear from men what their perspective is on dating and relationships so that women can actually have a better understanding of what's going on, what they expect, and things like that. The other part is bringing something to the table. That's the other part. A lot of people, because they've gotten so caught up in social media and what these artists are doing or what these influencers are doing, they think that all they have to do is just show up and that's the relationship. We need to start stressing the importance of what a relationship really is, what the purpose of these dating relationships, even person-to-person relationships, when you have friendships, how to maintain those. So it's not necessarily just the dating part, but maintaining relationships, period. If you notice, like back in the day, we had aunties, uncles that wasn't even blood related, and now these days we like, it's just me and the kids, or everybody is so isolated and everybody's in their own world. So just showing them how a relationship should be. But in dating relationships, you got to bring something more than just your body to the table. Like, that's not enough to maintain a relationship. When a woman wants a husband, he don't just want her body, and a man the same way. It was said even in the video that I was talking about with Shahrazad Ali. She was talking about how women are bragging about not cooking and cleaning and all of this different stuff, which is basically a part of the nurturing role that a woman is supposed to have. And so that's a part of the management piece. And a lot of women are like, no, we not our grandmothers, we not our mothers, we not doing it. But men still like that. They still like for you to do that. So when you don't do it, what are you nurturing? That's how you help take care of the family, by making sure that they have a nutritious meal, making sure that the house is clean, you know, that piece. And so when she talked about that, I'm like, I didn't really pay attention to the fact that women actually say this. And my brother actually confirmed it today that women are saying this. And when he said, like, you cooked, I don't want a woman that don't cook because you cooked for me, I was just like, wow, I didn't know that he was paying attention. So like, but that was something that I picked up in my house. You know, this is what you do. This is how you nurture the family. When my dad passed, that was something that I was doing. I made sure, you know, when I came home, like from work or whatever, school, I would cook a meal for my family because that's the way that I'm nurturing my family, even though I'm not, you know, the wife, but that was my job. I gave that job to myself, right? But as a woman, though, those are some of the things that should be done that is not being done. And now men are eating what? Garbage. And then they're like, oh, well, this is what I'm doing. This is, you know, she don't do this. But it's like a part of him is like, well, I wish she would do that. I wish she would cook me a meal. I wish I could come home and this is done. And I just think that these conversations need to be had. So are there any men that want to start off the male perspective, even in the comments? What do you say? If I put you in the house, you're supposed to turn it into a home. Yes, that is very true. When a man brings a woman in, they expect that woman to turn that house into a home. That's the multiplication part of it. Whatever he has, she's supposed to multiply that thing. That's what our roles are. That's even biblical. So I'm not understanding where the disconnect comes in at, because why do we think that that's not what we're supposed to do? Why are we shying away from doing that? It's okay to accomplish your goals and dreams, but you still, as a woman, are supposed to take care of home. You're not supposed to be out there doing everything that a man is supposed to be doing outside the home and inside the home. Now, if you're a single mom, that's different. That's a different kind of story. But when you get a man, you still have to know how to conduct yourself, because you will be overstepping boundaries, and then he'll be like, well, why am I here? If you can do all of that, what am I here for? And you don't want that type of a situation, because then you wind up 70 years old and alone, and nobody want to be bothered with you. So this is why these conversations need to be had. And nobody's saying anything in the comments. Let's see. Okay. I was trying to see. So, I actually want a male's perspective. I know I have my own perspective, but I wanted a male to come on and just talk about his perspective. But anyway, so the other part is another thing that I have had conversations with other women about is the relationship piece, and wanting a relationship so bad that they just, in the beginning, instead of getting to know the man, they just jump and be like, I want a husband and I want kids and I want it now, you know, and the man ain't even got to that point yet. It's like this first date, you got to slow down, sis. He wants you to be a friend first. He wants to know where your head is before you go jumping into family and stuff. And a lot of times, women, because we are managers, our minds are different from men. It's a little bit more complicated because what our role is a little bit more complicated, right? If you got to manage work, home, kids, and everything else, your mind is constantly going. Where bosses, you know, they just oversee stuff. So it's not necessarily, it's like what the task is for that day, not necessarily all the tasks throughout the day. So that's pretty much the difference. Everyone is selfish now, and everyone is not shown these things in their home. Some people have only saw mom or dad giving. That's true. So based on what this young lady is saying, she's saying that everyone is selfish now, and everyone is not shown these things in their homes growing up. Some people have only saw mom or dad giving their bodies in exchange for money or possession. That is true, which is the reason why these conversations need to publicly be had, because we have to understand that that's not what should be done. So if you got, that's like, I'm gonna just say I'm auntie, right? And so auntie is saying basically, let me tell you something. You don't have to follow the bad examples that your parents set, the things that was questionable with you growing up. You don't have to follow that. You can be your own person and have healthy relationships and learn how to coexist without using your body, without, you know, doing all of these different things. There's another way. So that's what these conversations are opening the door for, because initially it was going to be, what older women should have told us and all of that. But I kind of opened it up for a community conversation because I think that it's very important so that the younger generation has direction, and even some of us have our own things that we might be struggling with, that we may want answers on. So I think that I'm just trying to open it up for a conversation between all of us so that we can come to some common ground and get to understand the real issues, get some answers, and all of those things. Wait, what did she say? Or they have played the role to the T and people take advantage and we operate out of hurt. Yes, that is one of the biggest things. Hey, Lauren. That is one of the biggest things. A lot of us, even our moms, aunts, uncles, grandparents, have been operating out of hurt, out of whatever the experiences are that they've gone through. And instead of taking those experiences as learning lessons, they have used it as, well, I'm going to be hard, I'm going to be rough, ain't nobody going to tell me what to do. And it's like, at the end of the day, is it really working? Like, no, it's not working, because now you alone, you miserable, and everybody that approaches you, now you got an issue with them. That ain't how we need to be operating. We got to do something different. So these conversations might sting a little bit on certain things that maybe people will say, but it's necessary because I think that it will spark a positive change in some of the ways that we are operating, some of the things that we have seen, and understanding that what we have experienced is not all that's out there. There's more. So not all men are dogs. Not all women want you for your money. Not everybody is using you for your body. There are some men that actually want to get to know you, actually want to be with you, actually see more, and vice versa with women. But you don't know that if you haven't experienced that. And then a lot of times we take those experiences and then we tell, some that have children, tell their nieces or nephews, oh, well, they gonna only play you, they gonna only do this. And it's not the case. Everybody is not the same, and everybody's experience is not the same. So we have to understand that just because somebody hurt us, that don't necessarily mean that that same hurt is going to happen to whoever else. But we need to tell them that it does exist. People like this do exist, but how do they navigate through that? So that's another conversation that we gonna have to have. Navigating through hurt. That's a great topic, Lauren, actually. Men initially want the woman they want later, claim to be toxic or immature. Many of us men transform women into something we only want temporarily. I think with that one, though, men mature later in life. And that's the other part that women don't understand. Men actually mature later on in life. We actually mature faster, right? So for girls, they're taught get married, have kids, all of these different things, where men are taught to like play the field, figure out what it is they want. Women are supposed to keep their legs closed and just be like, saints. Well, while you're teaching men, the ones that are supposed to lead us, to do all of these different things, how are they going to reel that in order to become husbands? So a lot of times men wait later on in life to settle down or whatever, because they're taught to actually play the field. So it's like two different mindsets that's going on, and two different things that society is teaching us. So it kind of makes it seem like that men are like playing games, but it's like they're taught to play the field. So I kind of want you to explain that a little bit clearer, Mario, because I'm trying to explain what you're saying, but I don't want people to just think like all men are this way, because that's not necessarily what I want to depict. Like, and if it's something temporary, 9 times out of 10 is why they are going through their I'm trying to figure out what it is I really want phase. So let me see. We flaunt what we later complain about. If you flaunt your money or your body, you will get what you're fishing for. It's one thing to play the field, and there's another to disrespect a woman. That's true. That would tie into like the social media part of it, and what society has been dictating, because for the longest time now people have been on social media. I think that social media is actually the death of a lot of relationships, because you have all of these Instagram influencers, all of these women that's showing their bodies. All of their bodies look the doggone same. Everybody just looks the same across the board, which is actually over sexualizing the woman, which wasn't happening before. I mean, you had Playboy magazine, but everybody didn't have Playboy magazine in their home, whereas social media is right at your fingertips. So it makes you have more access to these types of things. So now men are becoming accustomed to women being sexual beings, because that's what they're seeing. And a lot of women are okay with their butts showing. All of these women have created like OnlyFans, and it's just a lot of sex going on. So that kind of opens the door for those things. Now, men have always flaunted women, certain types of women, whatever their type is, to whoever. Like, if they really liked a woman, they was gonna take her, show her off. That's always been a thing. But I think with the change in social media, that things have actually become more strained. Even I've heard stories of people like finding out that their spouses are cheating via social media. So it's become a little crazy. I think that in some ways social media is good to connect and like have these types of conversations, but when it comes to all of that other stuff and dating and showing their butts and all of that other stuff, that's a whole nother thing. What is he saying? Women are starting to reverse the roles now. Many men are in their feelings about. Now that's the other thing. So a lot of women that I have talked to are like, if he could do it, I can do it too. To some extent it's true, but in another way, it's not, because most women don't operate like men. Men are not emotional creatures. They weren't built like that. And so you have some men that are in tune, like, with their emotions, but God didn't make them to be emotional like we have emotions. And so, but that ties into our nurturing spirits, right? So for so many, they wind up not being able to handle that, or they become overly masculine, a lot of women, because they're trying to do the same things that men are doing. And so, what are you saying? It's actually what's already been strained with the roles is actually making it worse, because now women that have been maybe hurt or gone through these experiences are like, well, every man thereafter, I'm going to treat him the same way. And in the long run, that woman is not going to be no good in all actuality. Like, she's not going to be able to do that and then come out and be a wife. Like, that ain't going to happen. She going to be somewhere in her 70s with 10 cats crying about all of the nonsense that she done did, but she did it to herself. And now she's lonely. So that's not what we're supposed to be doing. You're going to have people that are going to hurt you. And that's the thing that we need to be talking about. That's a part of a relationship. That's a part of life. Usually people that matter to us the most are the ones that hurt us because we have a higher expectation for that person. So we shouldn't run around like, okay, well, this person hurt me, so that means I got to block myself from everybody that hurts me. No, that's a part of the process. That's a part of dating. That's a part of any relationship. Even your parents hurt you. Your kids are going to hurt you. That's just how it goes. So we just have to learn how to operate differently instead of operating out of hurt and then retaliating because we're hurt. So that's one of the things I think, because Lauren talked about that emotional piece. I think that we'll make that another topic and really get into that, because there are a lot of people that are playing games based on their hurts, but in the long run they're not gonna be able to do that, because then it's like, who can I trust? It's gonna be, well, ain't nobody out here, I done did this and that and the other, and they're not going to have healthy relationships, and it's just like a repeated cycle. Let men be men. Yes, but that's the thing. Like, I started off talking about the roles, and a lot of women are not understanding the role that they should be in. And so when I started off, I started talking about how women are the managers of the household, the assistant to the boss, the executive assistant, the COO. They set the tone for, the household. They are nurturers. They manage. They multiply. Men are the heads of households, the boss, the leader. The CEO, he is the stabilizer. He protects. He provides. Those are the roles. But somehow, with the changing times, women are more ambitious. With social media and artists like Cardi B singing that she ain't got to do nothing and she can still get a ring, don't help the situation, right? So now women are like, well, I ain't got to cook nothing. I can just show up with my booty and he gonna be all right with it. Well, ma'am, that's not going to keep your husband. That's not going to keep any man just the booty. You got to come with more. Just like men, you don't want them to just come with their bodies. You want more. So that part. And then telling younger women and teenagers what they should be doing as a woman or as a man. You have to show these things at a young age, and a lot of us didn't learn these things. A lot of us kind of navigated through it, bumped our heads a few times, and then realized, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So we kind of don't want to do that anymore. Like, this is what this platform is about. Just giving the knowledge to the younger generation and just having these conversations so that we have a better understanding of what's going on in our community, what's going on with one another, and how we can connect and get along. A lot of men emotions are attached to selfishness. Women forget their roles based off of the abandonment of a stable man. So, okay, that's a good one. So he says a lot of men's emotions are attached to selfishness. Women forget their roles based off of the abandonment of stable men. if a man can't lead a woman, he has no choice but a woman can't lead. A woman has no choice but to find her own way. And that's very true. That's before you got on here, I was talking about the roles, but I also talked about the dominance being when a woman has to take care of a household by herself. And then not understanding that once she allows a man to become a part of that household, that she has to pull back a little bit because you're taking over his role. So then he's like, well, why am I here? If you providing, you protecting, you doing all of these things, then what am I here for? Like, I'm going to fall back because you got it, obviously. You don't need me. And a lot of men have come across that type of a woman. So then they are not looking at what their role really is at that point. They're just like, okay, well, I'm going to just let her do her thing. Tag me in when you need me. And so just think about it. If you're encountering women all the time that are overly empowered, and I'm every woman, of course, you're going to be like, well, most of these women don't need me for nothing. And that's when I started talking about black men going off and dating different races, because a lot of these other races understand what their roles are. They haven't been through, a lot of the other women haven't been through the struggles that black women have been through. And so they don't have all of the stuff that comes with it, the anger, the aggression, and all of that other stuff. But we need to learn how to pull back on that anger and aggression too, because it makes us not compatible with anybody. And so all of this, I'm every woman. It's okay to, like I said before, be a boss in these streets, but you have to know what your man is looking for and what he needs in order for your household to run smoothly. If marriage is the goal, then you got to know how to operate within that thing. You can't be out here taking over everything and taking over the world and then leaving him in the corner by himself. Like, he gonna be looking at you like, you don't need me, you got this by. So he ain't sign up for that. So we have to learn what we're supposed to be doing on both accords. Now, there are men that have grown up with their moms, and I will say this, a lot of moms baby the boys. So the boys are not learning how to really be men. They are learning to depend on a woman. And then when they grow up and they're experiencing these same things, then they don't know what their role is. So women have to be diligent in telling these boys what their roles are, so that when they grow up, because you're grooming them to be men. You're grooming girls to be women. So you got to let them know that thing when they little. Baby girl, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is how you're supposed to operate. If you want to get married one day, if you want to do this. Because kids are only kids for like 18 years. They only kids for a short period of time, but they're adults for the rest of their life. You got to groom them to know this thing, know what the role is, know how they're supposed to conduct themselves, so then that they not having toxic relationships, so they're not bringing some of our issues into their present or their future. He says men get upset that I side with women more, but it is what it is. As men, we have fell off greatly. We don't even protect our daughters anymore. Too many goons, not enough bosses. Wow. So, that's kind of a loaded comment, because we can go back to fathers being taken out of the home. So this is something that already has been ingrained in us from slavery. Our men were taken out of the homes, right? So this goes back to the black issue, where we've gotten accustomed to, and men have gotten accustomed to, not being in the home, right? So if you're constantly being taken out of or pulled away from the family, historically, I'm just speaking, how do you know how to protect when you're not put in a situation to know this? Like, if you're not told what your role is, how do you know? If nobody ever told you, if nobody ever demonstrated it, how do you know? And how do you know how to actually show that? Like, for instance, my dad, his father wasn't present in his life. But because he wanted to do something different, he wanted a family, he wanted all of these things, he wanted something different from what he had. He made a conscious effort to change that, right? So he knew what he wanted, he knew what he needed, and he was stable in that thing. Where every guy don't have that. And that's good to have these conversations too, because we too need to hold men accountable for not being those protectors and not being those providers. But two, it is something that needs to be demonstrated. It's something that needs to be demonstrated on both, because it can be the same could be said for women not managing the house, women not multiplying anything besides babies. But like, it's like it could be said on both fronts. So I can't necessarily just say, you know, men are not doing what they supposed to do, women are not doing what we supposed to do either. So and then here's the other part. Protecting and providing is the role of the man on all fronts, whether it's daddy, whether it's husband. But there's a different type of protection between being your daddy and being a husband. And some women get that confused. They want men to protect them like a daddy. And that's not what your husband is supposed to be doing or your man is supposed to be doing. There's a difference. We'll have that conversation another time, but that ain't what it's supposed to be. What is he saying? Those who are misguided, I understand, but those with guidance are just dead wrong. And that's true. Like, there are men that just don't care. You know, they have kids, they know what they're supposed to be doing, and they just don't care. But for those ones, yeah, that's wrong. And they need to be held accountable for their actions. So we're not excusing the behaviors of people, but we want to make aware of certain situations. And this is like almost a call to change, right? So once you're aware that you're doing something, that means it's your responsibility to do something different. Now that you know, you can't say you didn't know. This comment is actually on Instagram. I'm live on Instagram and Facebook. He says the media is making it cool for women and men to tear each other down, especially in the black community. Reality shows provoke this foolery. That is very true. And that's why I was saying in the beginning, like, one, we need to understand our roles. We need to understand how we are supposed to operate as women. Men need to know how to operate as men, and then coexist with one another. And social media and society has been a big influencer. And if you pay attention, society, especially the society we live in, is keen on tearing the black family up. Now, the one thing I will say is because they know how powerful the black community is. They know how powerful we are together. So as long as they keep us divided, confused, out here doing nonsense, then we don't know what we supposed to be doing. We just operating out of the foolery. So that's why these conversations need to be had, so that we know what we need to be doing and what's really going on. And so I'm not trying to have a conversation by myself. I wanted you to actually hop on while you in the comments, but just to give a male's perspective about dating and different things. But these conversations need to be had so that we can do something different, so that we can join together as a community, and actually reshape the way that we're doing things, the way that the children are doing things, so that they can have better relationships and better outcomes with, if it's dating, parents, their peers, whatever it is. What is he saying? The youngsters think it's cool to say that's my bid, and the crazy part is it's acceptable these days. Women have allowed that to be acceptable. I will say this. I'm not gonna allow no man to be not saying that to me. That ain't cool. I don't like that B word, because that's actually one of the most disrespectful words there is. But a lot of women have given passes and even used that amongst each other. And it's like, you can't say nothing. Once you've allowed it, it's hard to reel that thing in and take that thing back, because now everybody's going around using it so freely. And it's very disrespectful. It's very derogatory, but that goes back to what society has allowed, what we as women have allowed when it comes to certain lingo, language, the over sexualization of our bodies. We have allowed those things because we think that that's what's necessary. Well, 20, 30 years ago, if we were paying attention, this was not what was necessary for a relationship. As a matter of fact, relationships lasted longer 20, 30 years ago than they do now, with social media, influencers, and all of this different stuff. So, what I wanted was a man to say what it is that men want and what they have seen in their own, experiences and things like that. I thought that's what you was gonna say, but I don't know what's going on here. Anywho, I wasn't trying to be on here by myself. I was trying to make it a conversation. So I wanted different opinions, not just my own views and things that I've seen. So what the other thing was, what I touched on previously, is saying these generalized comments about there are no good men, there are no good women, and things like that. But that's not necessarily true. We have to get beyond the superficial things that society has dictated that we need, especially in this social media age. And we have to get down to what it is that we really want and actually go with that thing. So if it is that you want a man that protects and provides, don't be out here wanting a man that earns 6 figures and be like, oh, he's a high value man, he's this, he's that, that's what I want. And then come back crying later because he cheated on you. Well, you didn't get to know his value structure to say that this is what he is. So we have to think beyond just the materialistic things, just the superficial things. Even for men are visual creatures. So the first thing they see, a woman's body, and then when it all comes out in the wash, you know, she was garbage. She was sleeping with like 20 different men while she was with him, and or causing issues, drama everywhere she goes. And so we are not looking at the actual value of the person. Well, I'm not going to say we, but people that say that they're no good men, no good women, a lot of times are not looking at the value of a person. They're looking at the materialistic things or what society or social media has dictated to them. So I think that we need to change the narrative on what we are saying is a good man or a good woman, and start looking at people's value systems. And especially during this time, I think that we have gotten away from values and morals and all of these different things. And we actually need to get back to that, because that's what works. We're doing things that are not working, and everybody's winding up hurt. And to me, it's just foolery all the way around, because we're looking at social media and what people have dictated or society has dictated what a man should be. He should be making like all of this money and buying us everything in the world. That's not what he's supposed to be doing. Yeah, buying us things is nice. That's fine. But making sure that you got a roof over your head is more important. Making sure that you're stable, you know, you have stability, that's more important. Looking at the fact that he has values, you know, he doesn't want every woman, he just wants you. So faithfulness, is he family oriented? And that's the other part. Are we looking at people's families when we're dating, or are we just looking at them? You got to date beyond looking at looking at the person, and look at the family. If they got a lot of dysfunction in a family, you might have a lot of dysfunction in your relationship. So those are the things that I think we need to start looking at, because men do the same thing. They're not looking at the woman's family. They're just looking at her. Oh, she's a good woman. But somebody helped to make that woman. Like, somebody is behind that woman. So understanding, like, what is her relationship like with her mother? What is her relationship like with her father? Was her father there? Does she want kids? Like, what does she feel about that? What was her upbringing? Does she have a Christian background, or is she an atheist, or, you know, different things. You have to look at that, and does the values that person has, does it align with your own values? And so getting beyond the physical and getting beyond the money aspect, and actually getting to the person and understanding the person that you're with is very, very important. Especially for longevity in a relationship. A lot of people are getting married and getting divorced as quick as they getting married, because they're not looking at that. Then you have women that are falling in love with the idea of just being married and not realizing that marriage takes work. So that's a whole nother topic, but that falls into the dictation of society and social media, kind of glamorizing and glorifying certain things. And we got to think beyond that. This is a comment on Instagram. He's saying, personally, I look for companionship, someone who laughs with me, encouraging me, lifts me up when I'm down. Sex isn't everything. Togetherness means so much. You know what? And for some guys, it's like that. But that goes back to understanding what it is that men really want. Men don't want you out here banging on your chest and screaming, I'm every woman. There's more that they want besides your body, too. So that's why I wanted you to come. You supposed to be on here, and you got all of these comments going on this Instagram. He's saying she doesn't have to come with money, just love, support, and loyalty. And for you, that might work. Another man might have a different expectation. But for the most part, getting beyond, what I was saying was to get beyond the superficial things and bring those values, bring, and I think that's one of the things that people are not seeing, is that genuineness when it comes to dating relationships. I think that a lot of people have gotten lost in the cycle of the foolishness that's happening, that they don't see or understand what a relationship takes and what it should be. A lot of people haven't seen it, like Lauren was saying earlier, they haven't seen it demonstrated in their own homes, so they're only going based off of what they know, and that's not necessarily what it should be. So that's what these conversations on here are about, for us to actually talk about these things, because I'm going to just say I'm auntie, and no, it's not okay. Whatever you seen that was toxic in your household, it wasn't okay. And it's okay to change, the narrative in your own life, change some of the things that you saw. Just because you saw dysfunction in your house does not mean that you have to have a dysfunctional household. For some people that have experienced those negative things where, like some people were saying they never saw their parents, get along, or their parents got divorced, or just different things. You are not your parents. You are not your grandparents. You are not whoever you saw anything negative. You can change that. It's okay to do something different. And it's okay to charter territories that you don't know nothing about, because this is what you want. This is like, just like I wanted to go to school, right? I was like, okay, I want to go to school. I ain't seen nobody do it. I didn't know nobody that actually was like degreed or whatever. And I was like, let me just go do it. That's doing something different. I didn't see it in my house. Like my parents don't have that. I didn't come from money where they can just be like, well, let me give it to you so you can just go get all these degrees or whatever the case may be. Even in relationships, like I wasn't, and it's funny, in my 20s, I didn't want to be married, but I came from a family, a 2-parent household, and my parents was married until my father passed. So that I did something different. Now that I'm older, I want something different, but then that was my something different. So I say all of that to say it's okay to do something different. Everything that someone else has done doesn't dictate the rest of your life. That's not necessarily what you have to do. So be okay with doing something different. That's all I wanted to say. This is a comment on Instagram. He's saying porn and broken people plague a good thing. Well, that goes back to what I was saying about society and social media. And how a lot of the things that are being seen is what everybody is like, this is what I want. Like, everybody's running around here like, yeah, I want, this and that and all of this other stuff based on what they're seeing on a daily basis. And that doesn't account for there's things beyond this. Now, the crazy is, we as adults should understand that social media is we're showing the only things that we want people to see. It's not our whole entire life, right? So why is it that we think that this is what we need when we knowingly know that people are only showing what they want us to see? It's like really, really crazy. So now you want something that's not even that person's life. And then you running around here like, I'm depressed because I can't have that person's life. It just makes absolutely no sense. And we need to just stop the foolery. Like, just cut it out. Even in, because you was talking about porn, that is, with the whole, porn has been around for a long time, though. So I can't necessarily say that it has jacked some people up because they don't know what's real and what's not. And then when they get with somebody, they think that they're supposed to be mimicking what they've seen on a video or something. But like, for the creation of like OnlyFans and all of that other stuff, I would say that has jacked a lot of people up, because now they're actually, it's almost like they're in there with the person and they're able to see certain things, and now that's what they want. So now you're craving what you're constantly taking in. But that's pretty much with anything. If you're constantly doing a thing, that's what you're gonna desire. So I mean, that's something that's not necessarily a new thing. Like, and then when you were talking about broken people, they basically messed up a good thing. That's with anything. And so that's why I said that's another topic that we can talk about another day, because a lot of people are operating out of their own brokenness, and they're creating situations that don't have to be because they are broken. So I don't want to get off into that. I thought that some guys would come on and say, you know, what their experiences are with women and men not operating in their roles, and how it has translated into dating and marriage and things like that. But nobody is coming on. I see the comments flowing, but nobody's coming on the video. But it's okay. Maybe next time we'll have a guy's perspective, like physically, where you can see him talk about this thing, because I think that a lot of women are getting caught up in the wrong idea of what a relationship should be. Men are too, but a lot of women are wanting things that are not necessary. Like, you don't need a man that earns 6 figures. You really don't need that. I don't think that him having 6 figures is really going to make you or break you. I mean, yeah, you can afford a certain lifestyle, but at the end of the day, are you really going to be happy when he's probably out messing with other women while you're at home? Like, we have to dig beyond the materialistic stuff and get to the root of the person, like get to the heart of the person, because we have to understand who we are in relationship with and understand how they're going to treat us. That's actually one of the most important things. How are they going to handle us when things get rough? How are they going to treat us, you know, even when you're dating? Those are things that you need to look at. Does he open the door for me? All of those small things that we have gotten away from, those are actually important things in the long run, because that'll tell you how he's going to treat you when that hat switches from girlfriend, boyfriend to husband, wife. And so you want somebody who loves you in such a way where there's nothing that is more important when it comes to the like damaging that relationship. They don't want to do it. They're not about to mess up what they got going on at home over nothing temporary. That person will actually think about their actions before they do something. Yeah, they might feel like, oh, I feel neglected in this moment, but I'm not about to mess up my household because I need, 5 seconds of whatever. Like, they're not gonna do it. So you have to know the person that you're with, and you got to get down to their value system when you're talking about something long term. Now, if you're talking about something short term, then by all means do what you gonna do. But when you ready for that long-term relationship, just know that it's gonna jack you up, because then you're not gonna know what to expect, what to look for, and what to do. So I'm just going to reel this all in. So this conversation was about roles, relationships, and dating. We talked about the roles that women play, the roles that men play. We touched upon social media and how society has dictated the wrong things and how we date, and how we need to change the narrative on that and get down to the heart of a person. And realizing that women, we don't have to be dominant. We don't have to take charge like over our men. That ain't what we supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be coexisting. When you are too dominant, men, they fall back, and then they're not operating in their roles. Men also, your role is to provide and protect. When they're like you and were saying, Mario, in your comment on Instagram, that there are men that are not in their roles. And that's the other part. When men are not in their roles, women feel like they have to overcompensate for a man not being in his role. And so then she takes that and then does that in other relationships, even after that relationship might be over. So we just need to understand what roles we're supposed to be in and be in that thing. If we want a long-term relationship, if the goal is marriage, we have to know how to coexist in a relationship. So with that, this is an open forum, open conversations that I'm going to do every Wednesday. Feel free to invite other people, share, like, and comment. If you want to come on, just let me know. You can come on. You can say that, whatever you feel, because this is not just about my perspective. This is a community conversation so that we can make some changes, be empowered to be better people, communicate with one another, have better relationships with each other, teach our younger generation a lot of the things that we were not taught, but we know the game, so we want to make sure that they don't bump their heads and make the same mistakes that we made. And with that, that is my time. I hope to see you all next week.